So now let's go into the first sound, and I'm gonna show y'all the easiest way to make chords for dark trap beats. What's up? My name is Devin. I also go by Infinite or Prod by Infinite, and today I'm gonna show y'all an easy way to make dark trap beats. All right, so I'm gonna play the melody for y'all real quick, and then I'm gonna get down to how I made it. So as you can see, I have like Contact and Analog Lab and SRX Orchestra and everything like that, like all these like fancy plugins. You generally do not need them. You can get this done with like very basic plugins like Expand or stock plugins or even Flex, because Flex has a lot of great sounds as well. I just use these sounds just because it's what I'm used to. It's what's normal to me and everything like that. So now let's go into the first sound, and I'm gonna show y'all the easiest way to make chords for dark trap beats. All right, so I have Noir pulled up. This is like one of my favorite pianos right now, especially if you're doing like dark beats. This is really one of the best VST. This is really one of the best VSTs you can go to. All right, and here's the MIDI for the main melody. So I'm gonna just show y'all the easiest way to make these chords, bro. So first thing you need to do is pick a scale. It doesn't really matter what scale you're choosing, as long as it's within the minor scale. That's probably like the easiest one to go to. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of these chords. I'm gonna show y'all how to make them for real. So you're gonna go into the first note of the scale that you're in. In this instance, we're in E minor. So I'm just gonna go on E first. We're gonna make that the first note, and then we're gonna make a triad. A triad is 3 notes within the scale to make a chord. So we're gonna just do that. We're just gonna skip every other note that's within the scale. And then this is a cool way to like beef up your chords without really changing the sound of them. So as you can see, this chord right here, it sounds good. It doesn't sound bad at all. But if we take this root note right here and we pitch it up an octave and we push it down an octave, it makes everything sound way more full. But you don't really lose the sound of the original triad. And then from here, you can just strum and then hit like a little randomization for the velocity. And then you got a cool sounding chord. Now let me tell you an easy method that I do to fill out the rest of the chord progression after I got that first chord down. Then you're just gonna take this whole chord, copy it over, and you're gonna pitch it down either 500 semitones or 700 semitones. It kind of depends on what type of notes you're using within the chord, but generally 500 to 700 semitones will always work when you're trying to get a new chord in the chord progression. So we got this copied over. Now let's just pitch it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then boom, that's how I got the second chord. Now here's what those 2 chords sound like together. As you can see, they sound really good back to back, and it has a real good dark tone. It has a good amount of tension with them as well. Now we're just gonna take these 2 chords, copy them over one more time, and then now we just change the voicing of them a little bit. So as you can see, there's a G up here and a C up here. Now there's a C right here and a G right here. So what I did for these chords was I just took the notes right here and I just pitched them up an octave, and that's how I made the other 2 chords. I like doing this for chord progressions because you keep a similar tone throughout the whole chord progression, but every single chord sounds different. And you need a little bit of familiarity within your chord progressions to make them really catchy. At least in my opinion, that's how I like them. So after I made those chords, I just went up 2 octaves and just put some random stuff right here. There wasn't really any method to this. I was just like, oh, let me just put some stuff in here, you know what I mean? And then after you have that main chord progression, all you gotta do is layer after that. So for this sound, I went into Analog Lab. I got that alert pad and I just layered the original chords that I had from the piano. And this is what it sounds like by itself. And when it comes to like a method or a template to make melodies, you generally can just use any pad. Just use it to your own discretion and make sure it sounds good for whatever you're trying to do. Then I went into Analog Lab 5 again. I got myself a little sub bass right here, the dirty saw bass to be exact. And I just copied the root notes, layered them. This is what it sounds like by itself. And then I went into SRX Orchestra and I layered some strings on top. If you know me, you know I love using strings. And for the melody, I didn't even really do anything crazy. All I did was just took the original root notes, pitched them up a couple octaves, and used it as the strings. Then I went to arcade to the Distant Voices bank, and I got the Celestial Chants, went and put it into E minor. You know what I mean? And then I just put 2 little vocal runs right here, and this is what it sounds like by itself. And with that being said, let's take this melody and send it over to Fearless Beats. Yes, this is a collab. I ain't doing the drums on this one. Fearless is gonna do it, and I got 100% trust in him, man. So let's get it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? So for those of you who may not know who I am yet, I go by the name of Fearless Beats or Fearless, but you can call me anytime. Alright, enough of the jokes. So our man Infinite went ahead and cooked up a crazy melody for us to go ahead and drop some crazy drums on. So we're going to go over exactly how I did that. But we are using Ableton. And before you run away, there's going to be some sauce here for everybody. It doesn't matter what DAW you're using. So if you guys are ready, let's jump right into this. Alright guys, let's start small and go ahead and build up from there. So obviously, I started with the snare. I didn't just use one snare though, I layered 2 of them together. Alright, so the first snare that we layered is the chop snare, sounds like this. And the other one's more of a traditional kind of snare. So together they sound like this. So nice, thick, and juicy snare that sounds super good and punches through the mix. That's exactly what we were looking for. Alright, so let's look at the 808 now. So I actually did 2 different patterns so that it wasn't constantly the same exact thing throughout the whole entire beat. So let's look at both of these right now. Alright, here's the first pattern. Obviously, it's nothing too crazy. We're just using 2 notes here. Alright, so that was the first 808 pattern, but I wanted to go ahead and switch it up. So let's show you exactly what I did right there. Okay, here's the second 808 pattern, and one thing I want to show you guys and I want you to notice is when this pattern comes in, you can see instead of coming in right here again, I leave some space right here, and it almost makes a little bit of a draggy feel in the 808. So it makes things sound really, really cool, and it changes up the bounce a little bit. But besides that, the pattern is almost identical. So that little bit of a drag there makes the biggest difference, especially when you hear all the drums come in with it. Alright, so let's check out this hi-hat pattern now. So I also did some snare rolls, and they're not going off too much. You don't want to do too much with the snare rolls. So as you can see, I have a little bit of a roll here, and then towards the end on this part as well. So we're not doing too much, we're doing just enough. Let's take a listen to this. So you may notice that they're panning from left and right too. So I did put like a panner on there that auto pans it from left and right. It kind of helps fill in that stereo field with your drums. Okay, so we also put on a crash here at the first part of every 8-bar segment, except for this middle one, because I have some of the drums not come in right away on this part of the drop. So besides that, we have it on the first of each one. It's just a basic crash. And then we also put an open hi-hat in here for when that crash isn't playing, but it's also on the first of every bar. So you'll see what I mean right here. Okay, so I only put like one other drum in here, and it was the other open hi-hat. I call it a drag open hi-hat because it's an open hi-hat that plays forward and then one that plays backward. So it kind of goes like that. Sounds pretty cool. So listen to this. So as you can see right here, it kind of goes down and then it comes back up. And I layered that with one that is a reversed open hi-hat, and it just makes it more apparent when you layer those two together. They're literally in the same spot here. And the only thing that I forgot to talk about was the kick. And the kick's very simple. I literally just used the same pattern as the 808. but then I put the kick only on the C notes, and I didn't do any of these high notes that go up an octave. I'm not playing these on the kick at all. So that's pretty much it. Besides that, the kick stays the same. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up the drums for this one. Again, big shout out to Infinite for this dope melody. Anyways, guys, we're going to listen to this beat on the outro, but thank you so much for watching this one, and let's get it.